Well, hello there, it's me again, and today we're gonna talk about dxSplit from Accentize, their newest plugin for dialogue restoration, doing all the denoising, dereverbing, and using dxRevive within this plugin, which for me it's a game changer because of how easy it is to, make your new workflow with dialogue restoration. So I wrote to Accentize and they provide me a license, but I'll be honest with you. For now, what I can say is I'm amazed. The only thing that concerns me about this plugin really is the amount of power you need to have to make it run smoothly. And I'll be focusing on algorithm that is called extended, because you have two, you have core and extended. Core is more basic, the extended is self-explanatory. Extended, so it needs a lot of power, and it provides you this sweet little delay while playing back with the plugin turned on. But I tried to record examples that will be difficult for any plugin to deal with. Expect, special ones like debird for removing birds from the recordings. But I tried to remove birds with dxSplit. Oh boy, it works. Let's go and see how dxSplit looks, what it offers, what you can do in it, how can you control all of the parameters, and then we'll go through the examples I've prepared to show you how powerful, how nice sounding it is, how you can use it with dxRevive and without dxRevive implemented into the interface. When you open dxSplit, you can see that you have three different faders. One's for voice, one's for reverb, and one is for noise. So you can control amount of every element of the track you're working on independently, or you can link them and move all the faders by moving one fader. You can mute, solo, and what's nice, you have EQ for every parameter. So you can EQ your voice, reverb, and noise. As you can see, you can choose your active algorithm between core and extended. Core is really nice for dealing with everyday dialogue restoration, like some reverb, some noise. It's really doing its job. But for my examples, I've used extended because I am amazed how powerful it really is. Of course, you can click on the revive and that opens dxRevive, which you can turn on and off within the dxSplit plugin, which is another amazing feature here. And because I did the videos about dxRevive Pro, today we're gonna focus on the stem splitter within the dxSplit. I'll show you how stem splitter really works, what you can achieve, and some examples. We're gonna throw dxRevive in to make the plugin do the complete job on reviving your dialogue. So let's go to the exam. Okay, so here we are in Pro Tools with three videos I've made. One's from bathroom, where we're gonna deal with reverb. One's from the washing machine room, when there's loud washing machine working. And one's from outside, where the birds are disturbing my dialogue. So let's start off with this one. Let me show you the first clip. Here's an example of a voice recorded in very reverberant bathroom. As you can see, we are in extended algorithm, so the delay is quite long. Maybe it's better to, use audio suite to render the files rather than using playback with insert like I do. But for this presentation, I guess we will skip the video and just focus on listening to audio examples. So what we are gonna do, let's just switch for now to core. Okay. Here's an example of a voice recorded in very reverberant bathroom. Okay, so now let's use dxSplit on a fly. Here's an example of a voice recorded in very reverberant bathroom. Here's an example of a voice recorded in very reverberant bathroom. Here's an example of a voice recorded in very reverberant bathroom. As you can see, we used core algorithm with some EQ on voice, on reverb, no EQ on noise. We could, cut some lows and low mids for the hum. It's a washing machine in the background. We are not using dxRevive here, and it is already sounding way better than it was. There's no reverb. Let's go again and listen without dxSplit. Here's an example of a voice and with. Here's an example of a voice. dxSplit got rid of reverb and a bit of noise. It isn't the best result you can achieve, but let the magic happen while we choose the extended algorithm. Listen to this. Here's an example of a voice recorded in very reverberant bathroom. That's more like it. This is amazing. We can also switch on dxRevive Pro, like in a default setting. Here's an example of a voice recorded in very reverberant bathroom. And what dxRevive Pro does is it's filling the signal with frequencies that are not present there. You can control up to 4 bands individually to achieve the best result you want. For me, dxRevive Pro is not really necessary here. I am happy with what dxSplit and extended algorithm did. Here's an example of a voice recorded in very reverberant bathroom. Here's an example of a voice recorded in very reverberant bathroom. Let's go to another example. And here I'm talking to you with a washing machine being on in the background. Let's get straight into dxSplit. In extended, what I've done here is I cut off a little reverb, I cut the noise all the way down. There is noise EQ here like this, reverb EQ is flat, and voice, just a simple voice EQ. No dxRevive yet. Let's hear what is going on with the washing machine in the background. And here I'm talking to you with a washing machine being on in the background. No one records dialogue just in front of washing machine in a small room with an iPhone. So that's an extreme example. We can try turning on the dxRevive, maybe to resynthesize some lost parts of the signal. Let's give it a listen. And here I'm talking to you with a washing machine being on in the background. It's not perfect, of course, but the recording wasn't perfect too. And I guess no tool on the market is able to restore recordings like this better. I mean, we can do it a little softer. For example, turn the noise up a bit and the reverb, and let's see what's happening. And here I'm talking to you with a washing machine being on in the background. And here I'm talking to you with a washing machine being on in the background. We can see on the video that the washing machine is there and it's working. So it's okay to hear a little humming or the engine or the whatever you call it, because it's natural for human to hear what he sees. Let's give it a listen without once more. And here I'm talking to you with a washing machine being on in the background. And here I'm talking to you with a washing machine being on in the background. This is magic and I like it a lot. And as you can see, what it is doing to things like this, the examples I provided, which are insanely stupid, this washing machine thing, for example, it's dealing with it. It's removing the noise. It's keeping the dialogue, the voice audible. You can hear the artifacts of processing, but come on. So knowing this and knowing its capabilities of working with stuff like this, you can imagine how good this tool is to work with just everyday city traffic, like the wind noises, static hum, and so on. So let's go to the last example, which is birds. And the birds sounds like this. Yeah, we have some birds out there. I'm speaking a bit quiet. Let's see if dxSplit can get rid of the birds. Let's make the dxSplit instance active. The dxRevive Pro is on. We have extended algorithm. We're not touching the reverb, just getting rid of the noise with some extreme EQ, but whatever. Come on. Let's hear what dxSplit with dxRevive Pro gives us here. Yeah, we have some birds out there. I'm speaking a bit quiet. Let's see if dxSplit can get rid of the birds. Yes, the post-processing here is audible even more than in the washing machine example, but when we turn this knob a little back to, let's say, 50%, yeah, we have some birds out there. I'm speaking a bit quiet. Let's see if dxSplit can get rid of the birds. It's better. We can turn up a little the noise fader, which will give us, of course, the birds and background noises. But let's see. Yeah, we have some birds out there. I'm speaking a bit quiet. Let's see if dxSplit can get rid of the birds. Yeah, let's go and listen without the dxSplit just to compare what we achieved. Yeah, we have some birds out there. I'm speaking a bit quiet. Let's see if dxSplit can get rid of the birds. Like, once again. Yeah, we have some birds out there. I'm speaking a bit quiet. Let's see if dxSplit can get rid of. Come on. You don't need a plugin to debird your recording. This machine is so powerful. This tool is so powerful. Like you can, as you heard, you can get rid of reverb. You can get rid of like extreme noises super close to the mic. And you can get rid of non-constant noises like the birds. So you can do all of this with dxSplit, with dxRevive Pro. And of course, you can use dxRevive Pro when you have a license for one. So I do have, as you can see, and let me just say that this little guy is my go-to denoiser and dialogue restoration tool. I rarely go and use any other stuff. It is so, so good. And it has all things in one place, and you can control every parameter you probably need to control when you're working with dialog restoration. So, yeah, hope you like it. So yeah, this is dxSplit, the newest tool from Accentize with dxRevive Pro built into it. Funny times, because anytime I think we achieved top of the mountain in, things like dialog restoration in a day, in a week, in a month, somebody is throwing a new tool, and it's blowing my mind how well it works. The way I did audio restoration, dialog restoration like 15 years ago and now, these are two completely different worlds, completely different workflows and capabilities we have. So I hope that technology will grow and grow and grow, but I also hope it won't make us lazy as audio recordists, as sound mixers. Yeah, because we'll fix it in post is not my favorite sentence, let's say. It's always better to work with well-recorded materials, as I always say. But yeah, if somebody f***ed up, we have powerful tools now. Go check dxSplit, go check dxRevive Pro if you haven't seen it or haven't used it. I strongly recommend taking a look at what Accentize offers. These tools are... That's it. If you like the video, leave a like. If you haven't, you can, use the comment section to tell me what you think about dxSplit and dxRevive Pro, or just tell me if you think there's a better tool on the market. Maybe so, maybe no. I think these ones are like top-notch plugins for dialog restoration. Yeah. See you again soon. Bye.